Tomorrow, students across the country will walk out on their classes and protests as they mark exactly 1 month since the Parkland shooting. But parents and schools are struggling with the question, how young is too young to walk out? And I know we were having this discussion earlier. I mean, if they're having drills in kindergarten with mass shootings, I think even in kindergarten, you're old enough to walk out if you're already aware of how to protect yourself.
Right. We had this conversation when we started talking to kids about sex. It's like it's earlier and earlier. And unfortunately, this isn't our parents' age or even the age we grew up in. Unfortunately, we have to talk to kids about school shootings because it's going to be a part of their education, a part of their life. So the earlier, the better.
Yeah, but go ahead, Erica.
I mean, I agree that, first of all, we're talking about their lives, their safeties, and they're already doing the drills. However, I think that if you aren't old enough to truly protect yourself, would you be comfortable with Sophie walking out of school in kindergarten?
I would. It would be a great education for her, in my opinion.
And a lot of schools are saying that they are going to do more demonstrations so that they're supervised, but a walkout, in my experience, has been walk out and God only knows where people are going. So it's like you're going in protest. Right, it's a safety concern. And I also want to know that everyone who's walking out really understands and can articulate what they're walking out for.
Right, you may be too young, but you know, I consider somebody walking through the halls of a highway with an AR-15 as a safety concern. You know, this is going to be a part of their life, Erica, and I wish that we weren't having this conversation. I wish we were still doing the duck and cover because we were worried about a nuclear bomb or an earthquake or something like that. This is the reality now.
I think it's too young. Kindergarten is way too young. I think you're starting to develop a thought process on your own when you get into the more of junior high. I want them to experience life on their own and then make their decision. I don't want their teachers influencing them, their parents, social media, thinking they have to do this.
They spend most of their life with their teacher.
But they don't get a decision. You're making it about a choice. They don't get a decision with when a school shooter comes down those hallways with an AR-15. This is a safety concern, and if they're not understanding it now, believe me, 2, 3, 4 years later, it'll all come together. Just like when I took Sophie in my stomach, in my tummy, in my uterus, to be, you know, biologically correct, I took her to the Women's March, and that's something important that will define her later on.
You're losing your education. You're walking out on school, and let me just take another side to bounce off what Erica said. If there is someone crazy out there, they know everyone's going to be walking out of the schools on this day tomorrow. You know what I mean? I don't know if I want my kid walking out of school. I get what it stands for. I get this is what we need now. But I don't know if I want my kid wandering around a school with crazy people, knowing that people are going to walk outside the school and they're not secure.
I hate to interrupt you. We're getting a lot of reaction online, and then Erica chime in to the reaction because.
Yeah, really quick, Erica, I just want to see. Chris Boner says, if you're not legal of 18, you don't have a right to protest or vote. And coming back up, Virginia Jordan just wrote, how young is too young? There were young children killed at Sandy Hook. So I think that children have a right to speak their minds no matter how young.
And I agree with that, but I find it ironic that we're talking about safety concerns for children when it's a higher percentage of some child being snatched off the street and kidnapped or sold into a sex trade than it is for them to actually be shot in school. That's the truth.
But I don't think a lot of these schools are leaving their premises. A lot of these schools are marching to their quad. They're marching to the lower playground.
And know that it's for 17 minutes, the protest. It's not all day. It's for each student and teacher that was killed. And it's a moment of silence.
It's within the confines of that school.
For certain schools, not all of them.
It's not, but when did we sacrifice the good over the greater of everything? It's like, yes, it's not going to be every school, but for some schools, even if it's just 10 kids in the class that are now aware that something needs to be done about this and maybe go on to lead the revolution in terms of changing some of our laws, isn't it worth it?
But if you ask a 7-year-old why they walked out, they're likely going to say what their 10-year-old brother or sister said.
I guarantee you a lot of adults would do the same thing.
But who's making the decision for a 7-year-old? Is the teacher saying, all right, class, we're going to walk out for 17 minutes? Because the kids don't know what they're doing.
But explain what the 17 minutes mean.
They know exactly what they're doing. They're smart enough to
this isn't a drill. This is teaching them about protests and defiance.
This is teaching about speaking up for themselves and also taking rights of their own.
This country is built on protest and defiance.
I agree.
You guys, the 4 of us would not be on this panel.
Themselves. I think that we're being very idealistic saying that a kindergartner should just walk out on their own.
They're not going to walk out on their own. I think that's not putting it the right way.
It's up to the parent and to the teacher to have those moments, in my opinion, with the students to let them know why they're walking out. They can bring up the drills that they're doing. They know. These kids know. This is their new reality, unfortunately. It's sad.
If they're young enough to do drills, they're young enough to protest.
But thank you for the comments, TBL Nation. Thank you for sharing them, Tori. And this is a new reality.
I just love talking to Eric. You guys just give me so much to think about, so I appreciate that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And there is no right or wrong. It's going to there's a lot to talk about. We'll talk about it in a break.
It's unpleasant, unfortunately.
It is, but I appreciate the discourse here.
Thanks for watching Daily Blast Live.
Did you know that we are live on Facebook every weekday for 3.5 hours?
Did you also know that we upload exclusive new videos like crazy?
Stuff like breaking news, celebrity interviews, viral videos, new apps, new food, new perspectives on the world we live in right as it's happening.
So give us a like and check out some more videos. Go ahead. We'll wait.